Thank you very much, Vaibhav. Now we will move over to investor questions, and we'll start with say.com. The first question is unsupervised FSD still planned to be released in Texas and California this year? What hurdles still exist to make that happen? You addressed the Texas piece, I think, already. So
yeah, I'm confident that we will release unsupervised FSD in California this year as well. In fact, I think we will most likely release unsupervised FSD in many regions of the country, of the US, by the end of this year. Like I said, we're just putting a toe in the water, then a few toes, then a foot, then leg, then make sure everything's cool. We're looking for a safety level that is significantly above the average human driver. So it's not anywhere like much safer, not like a little bit safer than human, way safer than human. So the standard has to be very high, because the moment there's any kind of accident with an autonomous car, this immediately gets worldwide headlines, even though about 40,000 people die every year in car accidents in the US, and most of them don't even get a mention anywhere. But if somebody scrapes a shin with an autonomous car, it's headline news.
We want to avoid that.
Yeah. So it's really the only thing holding us back is an excess of caution. But people can certainly get a feel for how well the car would perform as unsupervised FSD by simply allowing the car to drive you around your city and see how many times did you have to intervene, not where you wanted to intervene or were a little concerned, but how many times did you have to intervene for definite safety reasons. And you will find that is currently very rare, and over time, almost never.
Great. Thank you very much. The next question is, are there any discussions with other auto companies about licensing FSD?
Yes. What we're seeing is, at this point, significant interest from a number of major car companies about licensing Tesla Full Self-Driving technology. What we've generally said is the best way to know what to do is take one of our cars apart, and then you can see where the placement of the cameras are, what the thermal needs are of the Tesla AI inference computer. That's better than us, sending some CAD drawings. And then we're only going to entertain situations where the volume would be very high. Otherwise, it is not worth the complexity. And we will not burden our engineering team with laborious discussions with other engineering teams until we obviously have unsupervised full self-driving working throughout the United States. I think the interest level from other manufacturers to license FSD will be extremely high once it is obvious that unless you have FSD, you're dead.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. The next question is Optimus now mostly design locked for 2025 production?
Optimus is not design locked. So when I say we're designing the train as it's going to, we're redesigning the train as it's going down the tracks while redesigning the tracks and the train stations.
Yeah, we've all of the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's rapidly evolving. It's rapidly evolving in a good direction. It's pretty damn amazing, actually. The team's doing a fantastic job. We really have by far the best team of humanoid robotics engineers in the world. And we also have all the other ingredients necessary, because you need a great battery pack, you need great power electronics, you need great charging capability, you need great communications, got to have Wi-Fi and cellular connectivity, and of course you need real world AI, and then the ability to scale that production to huge levels. So you have to design for manufacturing. The things what other companies are missing is they're missing the real world AI, and they're missing the ability to scale manufacturing to millions of units a year.
I think that is an underappreciated thing, that industrialization of design is a whole different thing than making a design.
Yeah, prototypes are trivial, basically. Prototypes are easy, production is hard. I've said that for many years. The problem is that there's like those who've never been involved in production or manufacturing somehow think that once you come up with some eureka design that you magically can make 1 million units a year. And this is totally false. There needs to be some Hollywood story where they show actually the problem is manufacturing.
Or they can,
I've never even heard of one. It just doesn't fit the narrative. The Hollywood thing is like, it's like some lone inventor in a garage goes eureka, and suddenly it files a patent, and suddenly there's millions of units. Listen, guys, we're missing really 99% of the story. 1% is, that old saying of 1%, like a product is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. The Hollywood shows you the 1% inspiration but forgets about the 99% perspiration of actually figuring out how to make that initial prototype manufacturable and then manufactured at high volume such that the product is reliable, low cost, consistent, doesn't break down all the time. And that is 100 times harder, at least, than the prototype.
Then you have to get it there, deliver it back. Yeah,
you're going to meet all these regulations, and there's a zillion regulators around the world. It's very difficult.
Great, thank you. The next question is also Optimus related. When will Tesla start selling Optimus, and what will the price be?
Well, it may for this year we expect to just close the loop with Optimus being used internally at Tesla, because we obviously can easily use several thousand humanoid robots at Tesla for like the most boring, annoying tasks in the factory, like the tasks nobody wants to do, where we have to like beg people to do this task, and then it's like the robot's totally happy to do the boring, dangerous, repetitive task that no humans want to do. And that's also actually some of the easiest use cases for us to have Optimus do things like like load the hopper, like for like say in body line, if you're like transporting pieces of sheet metal to the robot, which is already robot, the robot welding line for the body, and you just have to nonstop take things out of a from one fixture to another fixture. And it's a very boring job. That's the kind of thing what Optimus could do.
The guy who runs around and dumps all the weld studs in the bins.
Yeah, there's a ton of boring jobs, tedious jobs, dangerous, slightly dangerous jobs that's perfect for Optimus. So we expect to use Optimus for those tasks at our factories, and that'll help us close the loop for improvement this year. It's really with production version 2, which I think launches sometime next year. I'd like it to be the beginning of next year, but maybe it's more like the middle of next year. And then we have to just with a production line that is designed for on the order of 10,000 units a month versus 1,000 units a month. So like when you design a unit when you design a production line for 1,000 units a month, it takes you a while to actually reach anywhere close to 1,000 units a month. When you design, and for any given production output, it takes you a while to actually reach its potential. But the current line that we're designing is for roughly 1,000 units a month of Optimus robots. The next line would be for 10,000 units a month. The line after that would be for 100,000 units a month. And I think probably with version 2, that is a very rough guess, because there's so much uncertainty here. Very rough guess that we start delivering Optimus robots to companies that are outside of Tesla in maybe the second half of next year, something like that. But like, so this is such an exponential ramp that it'll go from no one's receiving humanoid robots to these things like coming out like crazy.
So we can't build enough.
Well, we're always going to be in the we can't build enough situation. Demand will not be a problem, even at a high price. and then, as I said, like once we're at a steady state of above 1 million units a year, I think the production, and I'm confident at 1 million units a year that the production cost of Optimus will be less than $20,000. If you compare the complexity of Optimus to the complexity of a car, so just the total mass and complexity of Optimus is much less than a car. So I would expect that at similar volumes to, say, the Model Y, which is over 1 million units a year, that you'd see Optimus be, I don't know, half the cost, or something like that. What the price of Optimus is a different matter. The price of Optimus will be set by the market demand.
Great. Thank you very much. The next question is, what is the status on mass production of the Tesla Semi, and how will it impact revenue at scale?
I can take that one. So we just closed up the Semi factory roof and walls last week in Reno. It's ahead of schedule, which is great with the weather. In Reno, you never know what's going to happen. But we're prepping for mechanical installation of all the equipment in the coming months. The first builds of the high volume Semi design will come late this year in 2025 and begin ramping early in 2026. But as we've said before, the Semi is a TCO no-brainer. Like it's really similar to Optimus. It's going to be, set by how much people pay, and then it as a total cost of ownership, it's much cheaper than any other transportation you can have. So at that point, when we're at scale, it will meaningfully contribute to Tesla's revenue. Well, I think it's difficult to say how much. Anything you want to add, Elon?
No, I mean, I do think that Tesla Semi, again, with autonomy, is going to be incredibly valuable. That we actually have a shortage of truck drivers in America. That's one of the limiting factors on transport. People are human, so they get tired, and sometimes, there's. I have a lot of respect for truck drivers because it's a tough job. But because it's a tough job, there's not that many people that want to do it. And there's actually fewer, I believe, if my understanding is correct, there are fewer people entering truck driving as a profession than are leaving it.
Yes.
So when you think, yeah, exactly. So when you consider, okay, there's more people leaving truck driving as a profession than entering it, well, we're going to have a real logistics problem as time goes by. So autonomy will be very important to meet that need. So like, yeah, it'll I don't know. It's a several billion a year opportunity, which I don't know in this context, is that these days does several billion a year matter? I think it does. Not nothing. It's probably, it's probably like a 10 billion a year thing. Yeah, it's $1 billion a month at some point, probably. But it's all this is going to pale in comparison to Optimus. So, yeah, $1 billion a month it's a lot, but it's not. It's going to be like 1% of Optimus or something,
Great. Thank you very much. We already covered the next question in opening remarks. So moving on, is it expected that Tesla will need to upgrade Hardware 3 vehicles? And if so, what is the timeline and expected impact to Tesla's CapEx? I think they're referring to cost there.
They're really asking the tough questions, aren't they?
I guess we haven't stopped working on Hardware 3 yet. We are still making software releases. We released the 12.6 release recently, which was it's like a baby V13, but it's a significant improvement compared to what they had previously. And people are still finding ways to distill larger models into smaller models. So we're not giving up on Hardware 3. We're still working on it. Just the releases will trail the Hardware 4 releases.
Great. Thanks, Ashok.
Yeah. I mean, I think the honest answer is that we're going to have to upgrade people's Hardware 3 computer for those that have bought full self-driving. And that is the honest answer. And that's going to be painful and difficult, but we'll get it done. Now I'm kind of glad that not that many people bought the FSD package.
Great. Thanks, Elon. The next question. Has Tesla given up on ramping their solar roof product?
No,
Yeah.
we're sorry, Mike. Oh, Mike, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can take it. Yeah, solar roof remains a core part of the residential product portfolio, and it still remains where it draws a lot of customer interest despite it being premium products. We've worked on multiple iterations of engineering to make the product easier to install and distribute by reducing the SKU count. And more recently, rather than direct installation, we are focused on growth through our nationwide network of certified installers. And many of those, they've been installing solar roof with us for many years.
Yeah, that's actually turned out to be a much better way for is just let the roof, just supply product to the roofing industry. And especially when somebody's is getting a new roof anyway, or building a house from scratch. Obviously, this is by far the most efficient time to put in a solar roof, as opposed to putting a solar roof on a house where the roof still has 20 years of life. That's not economically sensible, but if it's a new house or the roof needs to be replaced anyway, then solar roof can make a lot of sense. And it is a premium product. It's like it's kind of like Model S, Model X or something. It's like it's a premium product. I think it looks really cool. And your house generates electricity, and if you combine it with the Tesla Powerwall battery, then you can be self-sufficient. So even if the grid turns off for several days, your house still works. And your roof looks awesome. So it's like, I recommend anyone who can afford it, get the Tesla solar roof and the Powerwall. Your family's life might depend on it.
Get enough.
And just in terms of convenience, your kids are not going to yell at you because their computers don't work because the power went out and you can't charge your phone.
True story.
Actually happens. Yeah. You literally can't even call anyone because your phone's out of juice.
Thank you very much. The next question was covered in opening remarks, so we will skip that. And the last question from say.com, what technical breakthroughs will define V14 of FSD, given that V13 already covered photon to control?
Well, we've gone a hell of a lot further than photons to output. We've been in sort of the nothing but nets situation, nothing but neural nets from photons to controls for a while now. We're just improving the neural nets. I guess we could get into some of the technical details to some degree. I have to say, I continue to be amazed by just how effective autoregressive transformers are at solving a wide range of problems. I mean, Ashok, is there anything you'd like to add there without giving away the sort of family secrets?
I mean, except for things we put on X already. So continuing to scale the model size a lot. We scale a bunch in V13, but then there's still room to grow. So we're going to continue to scale the model size. We're going to increase the context length even more. The memory is sort of like limited right now. We want to increase the amount of memory it holds, like to even minutes of context for driving. We're going to add audio to handle emergency vehicles better. Add like data of the tricky corner cases that we get from the entire fleet. Any interventions or any kind of user intervention. We just add that to the data set. So the scaling in basically every axis, like training compute, data set size, model context, and also all the reinforcement learning objectives.